Howdy, howdy. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about Pincha pepperplants. And after the latest update, actually the update before the latest, that was the expressive one, because now we're at the rocketry. So the previous upgrade was the expressive upgrade, and they added the morale system for which I created a separate video. And you can see here that it's extremely important to take a look at the vitals of your duplicants. And you see here, for example, the great meal attribute actually gives plus 12, which is extremely nice. And in order to achieve something like that, a great meal attribute, you need to have a specific setup and some good food, basically. It doesn't have to be the specific food, but the specific one is probably the easier one. You can also go for pepper bread, but which is of even better quality, but it's a little tougher. But stuffed berry actually is good enough, and it requires bristle berries that we can have in our base, and pincha pepper nuts, which are a little tougher to make. And how do we make the pincha pepper nuts? So basically, the pincha pepper nuts require a very hot environment, and we cannot really make them inside our base. So we kind of have to use a biome that's kind of hot, as you see here, for example. I'm actually close to the lower portion of my base. So as you see here, I have created two rooms, and I do have the farm station here and the specialists, a farmhand that is gonna be fertilizing this. I really recommend this kind of setup because the fertilizer produces Pincha pepper plants at twice the rate that it would be produced without it. So it's actually almost like having two of them, excluding the wait times. And so what you need here is, in order to keep this environment hot, and actually let me show you how hot. This has to be 35 to 85 Celsius, so it's pretty hot, and that's why you cannot keep it in your base. You do require phosphorite as a fertilizer, which gets produced by Dracos, so it's nice to have a Draco farm. I have created a video about it, I believe, and it's actually pretty simple. You can just create it in in the environment. Just find a place with Dracos and maybe add their answer there, and they will multiply very quickly and produce phosphorite for you. It's pretty simple. And you also need polluted water, which you can also find. It's nice to have a geyser, which I do here. And I have a polluted water vent. The bad thing about the polluted water vent in this situation is that actually it comes back with a temperature of 30 Celsius. So the water comes at 30 Celsius, which is not enough. It's actually not hot enough for my needs, because I need it to be at least 35, right? Remember? So I'm actually, pumping this water here in this room, but you see that over here is actually at 41 degrees, you see? So the reason for that is that I have a liquid tepidizer here, and this thing has to be submerged in water, but once it is submerged in water, it actually makes the water way hotter, and it makes it really hot. And you can also use it to remove germs if you want, which you generally don't need to in your games. I mean, you may have seen guides for removing germs, but you practically don't need to do it for the most part. But I do have some automation going on here, and let me explain what I'm doing. So I have my liquid tepidizer here, and I'm saying to it, let me see. So I'm saying to it, activate if the temperature of the environment drops below 43. So over here, if it drops below 43, so activate yourself. And of course, it has to be submerged in liquid in order for this to happen as well. And so right now the temperature is 47.1, but if it starts dropping with the new water that gets produced, this will activate when it goes below that, and it will at some point, because the water will be at around 30 degrees, and so it will create a more cold environment eventually. And now the pump, I have some activation for the pump, some automation for the pump as well. So, and I'm using this one, by the way, in case you don't know about it. It's the thermo sensor here. And so the pump has a separate automation system. As you see, these are two separate automations here. So this one, is actually pumping when the temperature gets above 43 Celsius. Pretty much making sure that the environment is actually hot enough for it to pump it and send the water to my Pepperplants here. And so you see the idea, right? This is how I'm using it in this specific setup, and I would definitely recommend some sort of a setup like this. In your case, you may and you will probably be luckier, because you will get like a hot polluted water vent or something, so it will probably be hot already, the water. But if it's not, just use a tepidizer and you'll be just fine. So yeah, that's how it works. Simple and nice, and a great way to create to create your pizza pepper plants. And also remember, I'm missing some fertilizer here, I think. Yes, and I do have my fertilizer synthesizer here. Probably, yeah, waiting delivery. Okay, happens sometimes. But yeah, you should have some fertilizer synthesizers as well, which I really recommend that you put them inside your natural gas storage. I like to do it something like this. I always have the fertilizer synthesizer and my oil refinery, because they both produce natural gas, so I don't see why not. And yeah, just have them in here, and they will be producing your fertilizer that you can use to expand the growth, to make the pepper plants grow even faster. And remember, it's like twice as fast, so it's actually pretty significant. So it doesn't say here, but if it's first fertilized, it will so. Um, anyway, yeah, that's the idea. And yeah, try it, and with this you can basically have great vitals, and your duplicants will be extremely happy, and they will love you more. So, and you can actually use high tier jobs after that, and eventually reach the cadet and astronauts, which yeah, are different types of beasts, which I'm gonna talk about in later videos. So yeah, thanks for watching again, and I'll see you soon as always. And please remember to subscribe. I mean, remember to subscribe. I'll be here watching you. Press the button. Okay? I'll see ya. Bye bye.